stop and analyze enough. Because here's the thing, the over there is the big scary thing you actually want.
Yeah.
The over there is the big scary thing you actually want. So it's often easier to convince ourselves, well, I got to do this, 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 and this first.
Yeah.
Instead of just cut to the chase, go for the thing, build what you actually want instead of the 7 things think you're supposed to have first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I go back to the fact that that's not just business planning, that's mindset work.
Hello and welcome to my podcast. Oh my goodness. My name's Tiffany. It's the afternoon here and I'm so excited to have you. This is Unveiling Journeys and I have, as always, an amazing guest for you. My favorite thing is the power of networking and joining really high-end masterminds, getting to know incredible people, because I want to be not the smartest person in the room. I want to be like the dumbest person in the room so I can leave full of the other people's wisdom. Let me just tell you, every single time I have any conversation with this wonderful, wonderful guest, this amazing lady, this wonderful woman, I leave so many nuggets of wisdom that I'm going to do that for you today. So let me do this. I'm so excited, so proud, so honored to introduce Miss Erin Marcus. And come on over and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing right now.
Oh my God, no pressure. Come be brilliant. No, that was actually when I was getting my MBA, we did presentations and I was paired up with someone who was also in sales and marketing. And our motto for everyone else was in like pharmaceuticals and tech, which are not who you want presenting. And then us two, sales and marketing, we'd be like, this is our motto: be brief, be brilliant, be gone.
That's great. Yes. That's what it needs to be.
Be brief, be brilliant, be gone. Erin Marcus, like you said. And what do? This is the way I've been describing it lately, and it's been feeling so good because this is what I think has been missing for so many people. I do business coaching, but I also do mindset coaching because I work at the intersection where what you need to do meets who you need to be to do it. And what I'm finding over and over and over again is a misalignment. So what I am helping my clients do right now is align their business with their life that they actually want, with the skills that they have, with their strengths that they have, and stop doing the 8 million things that you think you're supposed to do, because truthfully, none of it matters. And if everything's not in alignment, it ain't going to work.
Oh my gosh, you might be speaking to my soul, as you always do. This is incredible. You are maximizing someone that has been minimizing.
Yes, like people do not understand. We've all been through this. I say people. The only reason I know this is because I've done all the wrong things and I figured it out so I can like shorten your learning curve. But we do all this work that doesn't have to happen. And we do it because we think we have to do this, 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 and this in order to get over there. And we don't stop and analyze enough, because here's the thing, the over there is the big scary thing you actually want.
Yeah.
The over there is the big scary thing you actually want. So it's often easier to convince ourselves, well, I got to do this, 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 and this first, instead of just cut to the chase, go for the thing, build what you actually want instead of the 7 things think you're supposed to have first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I go back to the fact that that's not just business planning, that's mindset work. Because the plan's not that hard.
Absolutely.
The plan's not that hard. We can do the plan.
Yeah.
But if you can't work the plan, that plan doesn't matter.
Oh, right. So this is incredible. You do amazing things for people to pull the best out of them in a variety of ways. Have you always done this? Like, let's start over from the beginning. Where are you from? And how did you even get here?
Story, this is what makes me laugh. So I grew up in Chicago in the 70s, and I grew up with people from 22 different countries. Nobody spoke English. Nobody had any money. And so that was a gift, because I learned people were people. They're kids, so you just learn how to communicate with each other. And so that interpersonal communication has always been there. But then I describe high school as I was a professional juvenile delinquent. I use the word professional because it means I made money at it.
There you go. Early entrepreneur.
I don't know. I didn't go to high school that often. I had other things that I felt were much more important to do. But I also, by my senior year, was working 60 hours a week.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot.
So it's this really strange mixture of breaking rules. There's no such thing as rules, could care less what anybody thinks I'm supposed to be doing, but a really hard work ethic.
Yeah. Relate to that. I,
Right? Like this crazy work ethic, but not about school.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
school and public school in the 70s and 80s was a different, big city. There was a different experience, right? So somewhere along the way, I definitely figured out that if I wanted anything in life, I was going to have to create it. Nothing's handed to you. So the idea of personal responsibility, at least in that regard, started early. And then college was more interesting than high school, so I started paying a little bit of attention.
What'd you go to college for?
I went I went what is my degree? My degree is in mass communications with it's been a while. It's been a hot minute. Mass communications with a specialization in journalism. And then originally I had a minor in creative writing, which is it's like the face you're making, that was it. Because the thing that we learned very quickly is I'm not fluffy.
Yeah.
They're so fluffy here. So the creative writing, I'm just, what do you mean you need 400 pages? I already told you what you needed to hear.
Right. Yeah, yeah. We're not writing white papers at this point.
Right. So the journalism did well, the creative writing didn't. So I opted out of that. And what was really cool was I ended up with a minor in criminal justice because as a reporter, as a child reporter, I was covering murder trials. I covered government. I got to interview politicians way above my pay grade just because it was part of school. So they took their time and gave us their time. So that criminal justice background, along with the reporter job as opposed to the official education,
Mm.
really taught me a lot about how the government works, how the world, like
Yeah.
humanity,
Yeah.
right? How the whole thing works.
All right. So I already know there's like fun stories from this to this to this in college, but you do so many incredible things. I don't want to dwell too much on your college stuff because I've heard some couple of these stories. I actually kind of want a few. Just tell me a few. I'm gonna go let my cat in. Tell me a story. I'm listening. I'm listening.
I will give you the sales and marketing background. My early experience with sales and marketing in 1988. 1988, I was a senior in high school. And my parents were divorced, and my dad had two cars. He had a Corvette, and he had, what the heck was it? A Mercury Lynx that
Okay.
barely drove. And so once the weather broke, he's like, I'll tell you what, you can have the Mercury, you can have the POS, I'll drive the Corvette. And all I want is for you to sell it before you go to school. And I want, what did he want? He wanted 500. You got to remember, it's 1988 and it was a POS. So he's like, I want $500 for it. Anything you get over $500, you can keep.
Yeah.
I sold it for $1,200.
That's incredible.
So mad. How in the world did you sell this thing for $1,200 back in the day?
Oh god.
So, yes.
That's funny. Even now I'm like, gosh, imagine writing on that on a note. Like, hey, pay by the week lot, you know? It's funny. Oh my God. All
Yeah.
right. Entrepreneur hard early in your life.
And I don't know that I realized it.
No, right? Just you've got to pave a way. Opportunities arise and you're like the
Do
solver
what you
for
gotta
it.
do. You do what I mean, it's really not any stranger than that. You do what you gotta do.
Right. All right. So you get your journalism, your minor, your degreed up, right?
Well,
What do you do
fancy.
after that?
You don't go into journalism. Why would you do that? This is what I figured out. I didn't want to, coming from Chicago, still being young and wanting that city experience, I didn't want to go do what I would have had to do as a junior reporter out in the middle of nowhere for a very long period of time to work my way up to get back to my city.
Hmm.
Plus, that was really some of the beginning of televised sensational journalism that I didn't like. I didn't like the, oh my God, you were just in this car accident, everyone's dead. How does that make you feel? Like, I didn't like it. I've always been kind of averse to woe is me, share it. Like, there's a difference between exposing things that need to be normalized and shared and taking advantage of bad situations. And that's
Yeah.
what that was. I got a job back in the city leasing apartments because I had done this when I was 10 years old. When I was 10 years old, my mom was a leasing agent in downtown Chicago.
Oh,
And
there it
I
is.
used to go to work with her on
Yeah.
weekends. And I ran the what do you call it? It was the phone system for the building because it was a hotel that had been redone as the switchboard, the hotel that had been redone as apartments. So I would sit at the front desk because this was way before answering machines. And when people's phones rang in their room, because everyone thinks it's hardlined, I would see a light blinking. And if they weren't home and I saw it ring several times, if I was able to, I would use it was right out of the Curable Net show with the cords, and I would plug in with my headset and like, oh, so and so's not home right now. Can I take a message? And then I would also show apartments for her. I was 10 years old. It was like,
10.
here, 10, here, can you take this 35-year-old man up to the 40th floor vacant apartment?
Girl, you're like you're alive right now. Your mom.
My mother's like now you'd be in prison for that. So that's literally how I got my first jobs out of college. Just like, yeah, I've been doing this since I was a little kid. I can do this all
This is
day.
like you're 8 years old and you have 8 years of experience, right?
And then I just kept getting promoted. So now I'm in property management, which also makes me laugh because who decided that they should put 26-year-old Erin in charge of their multi-million-dollar asset, right? I'm still working on the weekends at the movie theater just to get access to all the free movies.
Good. That's the way to go. This
But
is
I
it.
but I learned so much doing that, right? I used to know how many BTUs of an air conditioner you needed for a 12-person conference room because of how many BTUs a human being like puts out in summer in Chicago. Like I learned all these things about construction and I can change a tub diverter if I needed to.
I only can because whenever your rehab people don't show up in real estate, like I don't want to know that I know how to drywall your house.
I
I
don't want
do.
to know that I can change the light fixtures in your bathroom.
Exactly. I may have personally installed all my ceiling fans. Put us in a room, we can conquer all.
God. Yeah.
All right, all right. So you're doing a little bit of that. This is building up to the story. Where do we go from here? Because I mean,
What I learned was that's a big babysitting job. Because, right, when you're dealing with people at work, you're at work, but when you're dealing with apartments and condos, you're dealing with people at home, and it was weird. And I didn't want to move up any further than I had gotten. And so I moved over to commercial real estate. To your point, through networking. I was a kid. I was like 26, 27 years old. So I went to my stepdad, who was an electrician, and he hooked me up with a guy who was into industrial real estate. So I was terrified. I went and I still remember his name. I went and had breakfast with Andy Lappin, who was teaching me about real estate and helping me out because I was his friend's kid. And he got me an interview with the managing director of the largest office and industrial real estate company in the Chicago suburbs. Just right to your point, because I got a guy, I know a person, and I didn't go looking for a job. I just went to learn something. I think that's the big thing. I wasn't asking anything except for information and connect, like, can you help me? What do I need to know? Can you help me? What do I need to know? And so I got that interview and I didn't get the job. And 3 months later, they called me back because the person they gave the job to sucked. And so they fired that person and they hired me. And now I'm 27 years old and somehow I'm helping to give presentations on the state of the Chicago suburban office construction market. Again, no business, but I learned, right? You
yeah,
learn and
yeah.
you ask and you ask and you ask. And here's the thing that I've learned: you show up, you learn, you ask questions, you be of service. This is not about toxic workplace and being expected to work you're not paid for. That is not what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about toxic workplaces and some of what you see go on TikTok or whatever. I'm talking about if you want to move ahead, this is what I think has gone wrong a little bit, not with everybody. You do the work and you get the promotion. You don't get the promotion.
Yeah, yeah.
What are they, show up for the job you want, not the job you have.
Yeah, I love that one.
Not about being taken advantage of, not about not getting to take break, not any of behavior that is unacceptable.
Yeah, true.
But if you want to move up, if you don't want to move up, that's also, by the way, phenomenal.
Yeah, you know where you want to be, right?
Know where you want to be. That goes back to the alignment thing I'm doing now because I'm watching that misalignment. Know what you want. You want to move up. And at the time, I just like learning things. It really is what it comes to. It. The weird background is because I like learning things. And if I'm not learning things, I get bored really fast.
Oh yeah, same.
And right, I've never understood. It's absolutely amazing to me. People are like, "Oh, I know what I want to do for a living," and then I went and got that job, and then 30 years later, they're still at that job. That's phenomenal. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's not what this podcast is about.
It's just
That
not
doesn't
me, right?
happen.
I want to keep, and that really did continue. So I did that, and then I showed up and I did great work and I learned and I got involved and I met all the people and I asked how I could help. And then one of those people, full disclosure, we were at the racetrack. We were drinking. There might have been a little bit too much champagne. And she said it was a company outing. They used to liquor us up back then. It was a different time. It was the 90s. It was a different time. And she's like, my husband's company needs a marketing person. You should talk to Tom. And so I got on the phone with Tom, and I later realized that conversation was probably more uncomfortable for Tom than it was for me, right? Because he was not the whole talk to strangers type. And that led to my next opportunity, which was I started out as the director of marketing for this long-term care insurance wholesaler, which it doesn't matter what that is. If you're not in the industry, it doesn't make any sense and it doesn't matter. But I ended up at that company for 12 years.
Wow.
And it was because they let me keep recreating what I did and they let me grow with them. And I got to do they paid for an MBA. Like they did amazing things. And by the time I left, my fancy title was Senior Vice President of Business Development for the largest long-term care insurance only wholesaler in the country, which was very fancy.
Wow, that is a super fancy title.
That means, again, nothing if you're not in the industry. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
What were some of the learning lessons that you had from there?
I had the most amazing mentor. I'll tell you one of the things that he said, and this is my big one to this day. If the only reason you're not doing something is fear, that's not a good enough reason.
Love that so much.
There might be 8 other reasons to not do something, but if the only reason you're not doing it is fear, that is not a good enough reason to not do something.
I think that hit a few people hard, including myself right now, because that's a little bit of where
Well,
you're at.
it's this alignment thing too, and that's why people don't go for what they want, and that's why people don't do what's in alignment with their goals and their strengths. And it's fear, and we don't call it fear. We call it busy. We call it I got to do this. We call it I've got kids. We call it I'm not ready. We call it a million things, and I just call it fear because that's something I can wrap my head around. That's something I can work with. That's something I can confront and talk myself through or work my way through if I just call it fear. And fear is any constriction in your body. Fear is any time you feel yourself pull back. It's just fear.
Yeah.
It's just fear.
That's incredible. It reminds me, I totally have this because it's like on a
Most people
sticky
do.
sticky note, and now like in tape. It's like try to get rejected to get over the fear of being rejected. Because like when you're asking people for something or your product or you're selling, you're always selling yourself. If you have a thing or if you're a CEO, you want people in your company, right? And that fear occasionally holds me back that I have to remember, wait a minute, there's a bunch of no's before the yes, right?
And there's a million ways to get over the fear because here's the other thing. I happen to be pretty decent at be scared and do it anyway. I've jumped out of planes. I've swam with sharks, covered in ink. And by the way, the ink started in like in the 80s. It's not a recent development. But I'm pretty good at be scared and do it anyway, but I also know that might not be normal. So you got to find the thing that works for you. You can baby step it if you come from one direction and break it down till you find the thing you're not scared of and just do that. get the wins, do the next one. Or you can hack the whole system and overload yourself by just jumping in, and you've already done the thing before your brain's had time to process what the heck's going on.
Right.
It doesn't matter which side it all works.
Mm.
It all works. You just got to find the one that works best, that's in alignment with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's like, obviously it carried with you from there forward, everything that you
Always.
did next.
Absolutely. And then one of the other things that he taught me is step on the gas when everybody else is stepping on the brakes. And
Almost like Warren Buffett, right?
it does not mean it's Christmas, work, and no one's working. It does not mean work 24/7. It means when the world is behaving in a way, don't contribute to a self-fulfilling prophecy of we're doomed, we'll never make it. Prepare for the pendulum to swing the other way, because it always does. It always does. It always does.
Right. Hands down.
It's law of rhythm. Like, that's how the universe works.
Oh, man. Those are such good things. All right. You are here at this company. You have a fancy title. You're giving amazing advice. You're carrying it with you. Where do you go from here?
Wait, what? Wait, you ready for this? Multiple six figures, 35 hours a week.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I left.
Were they like, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving us?
Because
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
I was 40 years old. I was about 40 years old, and I was bored. There was nothing left for me to, there was nothing left. Now, at the time I didn't, looking back, I realized I've done enough work now where I know, okay, that's my problem, or the problem. That's the thing. That's the pattern. I didn't know what it was then. I just knew I was bored. I was also, that age, it was like I knew there was more. I didn't know what it was. Things were changing. The company was getting so big, it was making my job very small, right? Because as things get bigger, everything gets more specialized. And that wasn't engaging enough for me. And I again, with my mentor there, you can't even ask for a better situation. So I came across, here's another story for you. So I'm in Potomac, Maryland at my cousin's wedding, except I had several bouts of bronchitis. I was deathly ill. I was on antibiotics. I was traveling with my parents. It was a very small wedding. And I was drinking again because I was traveling with my parents, having just gone through several bouts of bronchitis. So I removed myself from one of the pre-wedding dinners and I went back to my hotel room. And I am now on the phone with my aunt, who also couldn't come for her husband was sick. And we're chatting and she's telling me about this franchise that they were thinking of buying. And because I'm literally just laying in my bed, a little tipsy, definitely sick, and with nothing to do, I'm on my computer and I looked up the franchise that she had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted me to move to Vegas and do this with her. The franchise looked really interesting to me, though. So I sent away for information. That would have been in like an October. I think that was in October. And so I've been with this company for 12 years and I've been looking. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. It didn't make sense to like go get another job, because why leave the top of a company to go to the bottom of a different company just for subject matter?
Yeah.
Right. So it's so funny because like I've only been drunk maybe 3 times in my life, and yet there's this thing going on. I'm not a drinker. And yet there's this
Why
thing
we have a
going on.
drink one more time? What's next?
So I sent away for information and I looked into it, and I even went on their day to go learn about them. And I decided I wanted to do this. And I was very close with the people I worked with. And so I walked into his office and I looked at him. He didn't like when people were upset. And I looked at him. I'm like, I need to tell you something. I'm probably going to cry and you need to deal with it. I had tried to bribe some of my coworkers to give notice for me, but none of them. I was offering hundreds of dollars to have this come. None of them would do it. And so I told him, I found about this opportunity. I really want to do this. And I have all the packets of information. He's like, he was the president. He calls the CEO. We had like a co-president thing. He calls his son, who is the vice president, Tom, from the racetrack conversation. And he calls the lawyer, the company's lawyer. And we all go into the conference room. And they went through everything. And they asked me a million questions. What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this? And when he was satisfied that I knew what I was doing, he said, all right, you can do this. You can go do that. Like, And I think that's also part of why I do what I do, is the amazing life-changing mentors along the way. In the commercial real estate business, the only reason I was on stage in front of all these people way before I ever should have been there was because of the woman I worked with who put me there and said, you can do this.
Yeah.
You go give this presentation. It's the same information,
Mhm.
right? Like that mentorship of when you show up and show you're interested and willing, people want to help you.
Yeah, always.
People want to help you. Yeah, so I had that franchise for 6 years. Because of that business background of being involved with this company and everything that they had done to include me in rooms that were way above my pay grade before I was ready and got me ready, I got my franchise to the top 10 out of 200 in about 18 months
Wow.
because I knew the business side.
Yeah.
But then I learned everything that I could learn, and it wasn't fun anymore.
It wasn't fun anymore.
And so I gave that up. And then in 2018, I made $11,000.
I tell people, man, when you go self-employed, you have highs and lows.
Right? And I didn't know what I didn't know. And it was so different when, like, this is the next big, big, big lesson. Even though I owned the franchise, it wasn't my system. And so it wasn't working. When I left the franchise, it wasn't working. And I went to an event. I didn't understand why it wasn't working. I went to an event, and there's like 20 people of us in downtown Chicago. And I literally like couldn't even, I talked the parking attendant into not charging me for parking. Like I didn't even have the money. I could either park the car or eat lunch.
Yeah.
It was that, right? It was that bad. And I'm sitting at this event, and there's a woman in front of me, and I could tell she was doing well, and I was not doing well. I was confused, and we would have these different exercises, and I started asking her questions while the instructor is talking to other people. And one of the things she said to me was, I was so frustrated. I'm like, I don't understand. My parting gift to this company that I worked for was a $3 million deal. I had a top 10 franchise. Why? Like, I didn't understand what was going on, that I was having so much trouble. And the question that she asked me at that time was, how come you could make a sale for them, but not for you?
Yes. I've had this moment with myself. And I don't know how many other people have. Coming from sales to then own your own business and do your own thing and ask for your own.
It's so different. It's so different when you are the product.
Right.
It is completely different world. So that was day one. And like I said, I went and talked the parking attendant out of, just to give me my car. I was still younger and cuter than I don't know. But the second day, she asked me, how am I doing? And I said, I understand individually. I understand the definitions of the words that he's using, right? But when he puts them together like this, I don't know what he's talking about. And it really was all the mindset work. It was all the success mindset work that comes with, it's how you're thinking, not what you're doing. The expectations, the creating your world, right? That the external reflects the internal, all the stuff that I never knew about, because the truth of the matter is, like, the horrible, horrible mic drop truth is, I was massively successful at my jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize, or if not, at least I realized, I was massively successful on a path that somebody else created. There was work that was done before me, and there was work that was done after my turn. And no matter how fancy and autonomous and well-paying my job was, I was a piece of a process that I didn't create. And it doesn't mean I didn't work hard, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't lessen any of those achievements, but it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
It's apples and oranges. They have nothing to do with each other. Doing this for yourself, putting an offer together, pricing your value for the outcome you provide. Running a business and doing the thing that a business does has nothing to do with it. I was great at running, right? Like, they have nothing to do with each other. And so we put all this time, this energy, and this effort into what we love to do for other people, but we put no time and money and energy and effort into how do you run a business. And so what happens, and I went through all of these, I use the word susceptible. We become susceptible to other people's marketing efforts. It doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make them bad. They're not bad tactics, but we don't know if they're in alignment with us
Mhm.
because we're looking at the marketing, which is what they're supposed to be doing. Again, they're not wrong. We're looking at the curated marketing of what other people are telling us we're supposed to do. And we're going, okay, but maybe that's not right for us, or maybe it's not right for our business, or maybe we don't have these 7 other things that you need to have, or maybe they're so far advanced that the world that they came up in doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Right? Like, I follow the gurus, love Gary Vee. I follow the gurus. They give brilliant information, but the world they came up in does not exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so some of what they say has to be adjusted. Does it actually work for you? Is it in alignment? Like, here's the really weird thing about me. I could talk to you like this all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can get on stage in front of 1,000 people and be this easy about it. I can't do social media. I suck at it because there's no feedback.
Makes
And
sense.
I had to learn that. I had some brilliant person who understands human design looked at my chart and go, well, this is why that doesn't work for you.
I just had someone look that up for me. I didn't even know
Right.
what all that meant. I had to Google it
Right,
last night.
exactly. Like, I could have used that information a few hundred years ago, but a few $1,000s ago. But does it work for you? And you can say that, yes, there's feedback, but it's not energetic the way I need it. It's not for me. It doesn't mean I don't use it at all, but it's not my main strategy. And every time I try to prove myself wrong, it proves me wrong again, and it fails miserably. And eventually I learn stop doing it, right? Or we just try it again. Like, and that goes to the whole, this is where I have a problem with my own thoughts because I believe in resilience and I believe in patient persistence. And I believe fall down 7 times, get up 8. But if everything's that hard, you're probably not on the right. Something's out of alignment.
Yeah. This is what we talked a little bit before we hit record with people.
Something's out of alignment. Either it could be tweaks. That's the other thing. It's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's usually just tweaks. So I'm back in my business doing what I love, talking to people on podcasts, talking to people on stage, and using social media as a credential and a reinforcement for the people I get to meet in real life instead of trying to grow an audience in order to sell something.
Yeah.
It don't work. You gotta find the one that works for you.
Exactly. And then you get to help people figure out a little bit of what that looks like, tiny bit, right?
Right. Like having those conversations with people about what is it that you really want
Mm-hmm.
and what is it that you're doing and where are they not aligned. Like, it's as simple as this question. Where is the best way you already said it. For you, it's networking. Where
Well,
is your best way of connecting? Where are you naturally happy connecting with people?
with people, it face to face.
Yeah. So then use that. Like, it's your business, not your mother. You don't need closure. You just need it to work, right? Like, why are we banging our heads against the wall to use tactics that might not be our best option?
Yeah. And is it like a revenue generating activity or just something fun you'd love to do? Like sometimes
Right.
networking is not a revenue generating activity, but I love networking. So it's like, I'll go to a funsy thing.
But if you know that going in, I was a part of a women's group that started because somebody won a gift card to a restaurant. So she got like 10 people to go and they were like, let's do this again. So we kept going back to this restaurant and there was almost no business done, but we needed this support.
Mm-hmm.
It really was more of a break loose once a month, have fun, be supportive of each other. It wasn't about the business.
Yeah.
But I went there knowing that.
Yeah.
It's when we lie to ourselves that we get in trouble, when we're busy and not effective, but look, we're so busy.
Right. Yeah. I've
That's
had
when we
those
get in
moments.
trouble. Yeah,
All those little things.
We all do. It's just an awareness, right? How aware.
So from this event, how long and what did that process look like to get you to where you're doing your thing now? I mean, you've got a
So
book, got a website, you've got so many cool things that have blossomed from a
It
lot
all
of these
blossomed
pivotal
from
points.
a few, right? Those places. So I want to say about 6 months that the person who I met there, her and I stayed in touch. And so that was in 2018. And I started working with her in 2019. I got a credit card. I don't know how I got approved, divine intervention. And I did some work with her to get the ball rolling. And I'm real transparent about like, so in 2018, I made 11,000. And in 2019, when I launched, I finally figured out what I could do for people and how I want to do it. I made 60 grand. Okay, fine. At least we're making some money. And then I doubled it and then I doubled it and doubled it and doubled it um, until it all stopped working. Until it all stopped working, which is about almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, again, not recognizing my own pattern fast enough. It had gotten very complicated. It had gotten very big. Was it the work? One of the reasons I left corporate was the work started to feel very contrived, meaning it was work just to do work so that somebody can make a nickel off of somebody else's dime. Like it was just very convoluted. And that's how I felt my own business got. It got very complicated. There was a lot of people involved. There was a million moving parts. And I was getting further and further away from the thing that I love, which is making those, creating these aha moments for people that become life changing for them.
Yeah.
Like, it's great to work with the client with the $5 million business to make it the $10 million business. But to me, that's not nearly as fun as to work with the person, especially a woman making 50 to 75 and show her how to make 250.
Yeah.
That's life changing.
Yeah.
The first example is just business.
Uh-huh.
Like seriously, to go from 5 to 10, you need some efficiencies and some processes and probably a salesperson. Like that's not actually that hard. The hard part is at the front end of that. And that's what I love doing. Like changing somebody's perspective about themselves and what's possible for them and how they then can go out into the world with that. And I'd gotten away from it. And so the business stopped working. And the business stopped working because I wasn't supposed to be doing it anymore. And me being me and like just middle America, blue collar work ethic, just work harder at it. It took me a hot minute to realize, no, this was a message, not a challenge.
Yeah, right.
Let it go. If it gets that hard, you're not supposed to be doing something's got to give. And so last year is when I'm like, all right, let's go back to what drew me to this in the first place. And so I let go of the Conquer Your Business brand and went back to just Erin Marcus and really working much more closely with individual people, speaking in podcasts and getting the thought leader concept out there. Because one of the things that's been the same through everything, like you look back and like I said, how does this even go together? But one of the themes that I've absolutely always believed is that if you don't make decisions for you, people who are not vested in you get to make those decisions on your behalf. It could be a doctor, it could be a lawyer, it could be the government, it could be your boss. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make those people bad, it doesn't make them wrong. But if you don't take charge of your world, then you're giving away that power to someone else who may not have the same theories about life as you do. And it's not making anyone bad or wrong. What do you want? Stop. The thing I've been saying a lot lately is stop. Does things need to change? Things need to change. I don't hesitate to say that at all. But don't wait for those changes. Don't wait for the world to change. Go change your world. And I think that's one of the things that I've always done.
Yeah.
Right? I was in high school. There's no reason. On paper, there is no reason I should have any kind of job outside of a close to minimum wage, blue collar. There's nothing wrong with those jobs.
Yeah, yeah.
It's where my upbringing was going to put me. So there's no reason I'm not there except that I decided I wanted to try something.
Man, this is so good. You are blowing people's minds right now listening to this, and mine, all the goodies, all the refreshers, all the everything. Oh my gosh. I want everybody who's listening to this right now and the people who aren't, find a way to get them to listen to this so that they can know you, because I want them to have time with you. I want them to let you pour this wisdom the way that you feel it coming out of you to affect their life in a way that I know you're great at doing. But here's the deal. I only get so much time with you on my podcast. So at this point, people are like, how do I find this lady? I want to know her more. And I need them to know how that they're going to find you. And then I have only like one or two little mini questions before we go.
So the easy thing is it's all at erinmarcus.com. It's just all at erinmarcus.com. There's a link there to my podcast, which has a lot of solo. I have a lot of great interviews, but I also have a lot of solo episodes, which is just coaching.
Yeah.
Like seriously, 10, 15 minutes at a time, just coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And so the podcast is there. The links to all my socials are there. Find me, connect, reach out. I love talking to people. So it's all at erinmarcus.com.
Amazing. We already said this, but I totally want to ask it again because it's so good. Why are you trying so hard to do what you do right now?
So aside from the fact that if you're trying that hard, you should find a different path. Here's the thing that I know, and I said, don't wait for the world to change, go change your world. And I agree. But at the same time, there are things that need to change.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't happen from the top down. It really doesn't. The system exists to protect the system. I don't care what side of it you're on. Real change happens from the bottom up. And so as someone who has been volunteering in one way or another for 20 some odd years, as someone who watched people come to this country, people come from impoverished situations within this country and work their way into amazing lives, I believe that change happens from the bottom up. And so that's what I want to be a part of.
I
Is
love that.
helping people. We need to get more power, which means more money, in the hands of people who are led by compassion, led by caring, led by wanting to make a difference. And truthfully, those are entrepreneurs.
Yep. Hands down. Most of
Female,
America.
female ones in particular.
Oh yeah. Because we lead.
We lead. We lead the next generation, right?
My goodness. You are phenomenal. And people know it. They feel it, they hear it. They want to know you. And now they get to know you more. And there's going to be probably way more coming. So you better just follow everything that she's doing on her
Make it
website.
happen.
Yes,
And let
absolutely.
it be easy. Let it be fun. Let it be
Yeah.
easy. Stop trying so hard.
Awesome.
Let it be
Thank you
easy.
so much for you coming. I know we've been meaning to do this for a hot second, but timing is everything. Everything happens for a reason. And today was the day. And I'm so grateful for your time. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
coming. Thank you guys for coming on the show, listening to everything. I will see you on the next one and come hang out with us. If you want to be on here, maybe I can. Let's see if it's a
There you
fit,
go.
right?
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye.